Alright, hello guys. In this video we're going to be talking about just how cold that record cold could be for some of the eastern United States, including the Midwest and some of the Great Lakes states as well. But before we get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends and family on Facebook and other social medias. Now let's get right into things. We're looking at our current hazards here. So the biggest thing is our southeastern United States there. You can see those deep blue colors, almost purplish, not to be confused with those winter weather advisories up there for West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, North Carolina. I'm talking about the deep south here. This is where we have freeze warnings in those deeper blue colors, very, very dark blue colors. And then in the lighter turquoise color there, you can see some of that for Georgia. That's where we have a freeze watch. So they're thinking it's possible we see our freeze, but not necessarily guaranteed. Now in these blue colors, it's almost a guarantee. We're pretty darn sure you're going to get your first freeze. So that's why we have a freeze warning. You only get one of these a year. So that's why the areas to the north don't have it. It's only for your first freeze of the year. Now we also have our winter weather advisories that I mentioned before in the purple colors, and then winter storm warnings in the pink colors there for Ohio, Michigan. That's all for lake effect snow, but up there for Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, that's where it's still our snow system moving out. Let's move on to our temperature anomalies here, and this is for actually last Saturday, so this is going to be a few days back, and you can see we had a pretty big cool down, and the reason I'm showing you Friday night into Saturday here is because I want you to be able to try to compare it to what we felt in the past. I remember that night felt very, very cold. So look at this map and then pay attention to what we see for the future maps, because it looks like we're going to get much, much colder than what Saturday or Friday night into Saturday was. So let's move on to what's actually going to happen in the future now. So this is this morning here, and you can see we have our cold front in between those reds and those pinks. That's where there's a very strong cold front about to move through. So areas behind it are extremely cold, and then areas in front of it are very mild. So we can see a lot of those reds for the mid-Atlantic and southeast. That's not going to last very long, not even through the night tonight. So only today we'll have some warmer temperatures for some areas, and in some areas the cold front has already moved through, because again, this is from earlier this morning. We see in those pink colors back for the central United States, that's where we're looking at only about 20 to 28 degrees below average Celsius, which is just insane. This is very, very cold, and it's at the very bottom of that bar there on the right hand side of your screen. So that's about as cold comparatively to normal as you can even expect to see on this entire website. So very, very, very far below average temperatures. If you guys live there, you can let us know how it feels for a lot of those states in the pink, but it's far below average temperatures for those regions. Now let's look at tomorrow, and this is where things are going to get very, very extreme for the eastern United States. We see those pinks moving eastward. You can see from the Great Lakes down through the deep south, we have those very pink colors, and again, that's where we're at about 20 to 28 degrees below average for a lot of those very, very light pinks, and you can see that it even extends up there for the New England states, upstate New York, and even some of the Appalachian Mountains there, as well as the Smoky Mountains. So we do see those pink colors scattered throughout the eastern United States. And even if you're only in those purples, I mean, you're still 12 to 20 degrees below average Celsius, which is very far below your average anyway. So, I mean, everywhere east of, Minnesota and Texas, you're basically looking at far below average temperatures, with the exception of southern Florida. Now let's get into some of your actual temperatures. So that was comparatively to normal. Let's look at the actual Fahrenheit temperatures here. And this is for Saturday night, or Friday night into Saturday, once again, November 9th. So you can just see this was the actual temperatures for that night. You can see 20s pretty widespread throughout the Great Lakes states, some of the central United States, Midwest up there, as well as New England, obviously getting very cold as well. Some of those darker blues, that's where we were in the teens even. And then along the mid-Atlantic coast, you can see we were mostly above freezing. Now, let's move on to tonight, so Tuesday night, Tuesday the 12th, so that's today, into the 13th. And you can see very widespread 20s from North Dakota through South Dakota into all the way down through Texas, and then in the deep south, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, northern Georgia, northern South Carolina. All these regions are in the 20s and even teens in northern Mississippi. There I see an 18 there at the top of that state. So very, very cold temperatures. And along the east coast there, you can see almost freezing for a lot of the southeast coast. And then the northeast coast, we are freezing. Now, again, in those darker blues, that's where we're in the teens. And then in the almost white shades, that's where we're below 10 degrees in some of those lighter white almost shades. At white, you're at about 0. And then it starts to turn purple after that, which we see some of that in Canada. That's negative temperatures. Let's zoom in a little bit. So we're going to start out with your Great Lakes states here, and you can see single-digit temperatures expected for a lot of Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. All these states are expecting to be in the single digits, and outside of that, I mean, it's widespread teens. So very, very cold temperatures for these regions. Now, let's move on to the northeastern United States, where things are actually even colder than the Great Lakes states. So here you can see for the Adirondacks in through the Green Mountains of Vermont, you can see we're even negative temperatures there, as there's a little bit of purple there for central Vermont. I can even see a -1 there for upstate New York, and then a 0, and then a -1 in Vermont. So we have some negative temperatures, but in these whites, again, you're very, very close to 0. You're in the single digits, probably below 5 degrees tonight, which is very, very cold temperatures for these areas and unseasonable at that. But again, widespread teens is the same story for these areas. You have to go all the way down to coastal Massachusetts. That's how far south you'd have to go to find a 20-degree mark. So it's going to be very, very cold tonight. You can see even down through Virginia and North Carolina, we're into the lower 20s. So, I mean, this is more like December, but we're feeling this in the earlier half of November, obviously, which is very, very insane. Now, also for the southeastern United States, I did a zoom in here. We could see 30s and 20s there for South Carolina, Georgia, even Florida, the panhandle of Florida getting into the 20s. Just crazy for November, guys. This might be one of the biggest cold shots I've seen in early November ever. So, since I've been paying attention, which isn't that long anyway, but it is kind of crazy. Once every 10 or 20 year type event here with this cold air entering the United States on the 12th of November. Very, very early for this type of stuff to be going on. Every state in the United States is basically below freezing. Let me check. I guess some of the western states obviously don't have below freezing temperatures, but all of these deep south states do have below freezing temperatures, which is just crazy. All right, and then heading into this Saturday, we also have some very, very cold temperatures here, as I show on this frame, on this temperature anomaly frame. I just wanted to mention that the cold is going to stick around throughout the week as well, just not quite as cold as Wednesday is going to be. And here's the exact temperatures for Saturday, the November 12th. And you can see it gets even colder there for New England. So I'm going to zoom into the northeastern United States. And again, the Adirondacks below 0. So very cold week coming up for the eastern United States as a whole, but especially for New England. All right. So on radar, what could this give us as far as precipitation type effect? Well, obviously, first off, lake effect snow. The lakes are still very warm as it's only early November. But again, that December type air is moving over those very, very warm lakes, creating intense lake effect snow, and a little bit earlier than average at that. So we see Michigan. This is actually tonight. So you can see lake effect snow throughout Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, Michigan, a little bit of Indiana as well. Lake effect snow all over the place. As we see our snow system is moving out by this point, you can see Cape Cod, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, and a little bit of Maine there still getting snow from that system, but basically wrapping up by this point. Also, pay attention in the Chesapeake Bay, we could be seeing bay effect snow. I didn't zoom in and show this, but for some of the Hampton Roads regions, you could be getting a dusting of snow, as we're expecting to see heavy snow with the bay effect snow tonight for a small sliver of areas there for Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake. One of those areas is going to get a little bit of snowfall there. Very, very unseasonable for those regions, which is my hometown region. So I've never even seen snowflakes in November. So it's very, very early for that type of stuff to be happening. Also, by Wednesday, November 8th, 13th, so this is tomorrow, we see moderate snow heading into some of those Midwest states, and that's where we're seeing a clipper system move down into the Great Lakes states. And I move on another frame to Wednesday night, so tomorrow night, November 14th, early on November 14th. We see that moderate snow move into Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan. So these areas that have already gotten snow are going to get even more with this clipper system that moves in. Now, here's our snowfall total on the NAM 3KM. You can see with that lake effect snow, we see some of those purple showing up for Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York. This is areas where we're expecting to receive 4 to 6 inches or more of lake effect snow. And again, that Southeast Virginia region into North Carolina. We see some of those darker blues into some of the lighter blues for some regions. If you look very closely, you can see there's a small sliver of the lighter white color almost, which is where we're expecting, this model is expecting over an inch of snowfall to occur, but that's not accumulation. That's just the amount of snow that falls. So we could be seeing quite a bit of snow for a sliver of areas down there. Now, here's your 6 to 10 day probability of temperatures. I just wanted to show this because this is our upcoming pattern beyond what's happening now. So this is from the 17th through the 21st of November. So we will still be seeing colder than average temperatures for the eastern United States and warmer temperatures for the west. But from the 19th through the 25th, potentially looking at a warm-up to finally occur, a little bit of a warm-up for the eastern United States, that is. And that has not been the case at all this entire November season. I also wanted to show, I know this video is going very long compared to what I normally do, but I wanted to show the 1 month temperature probability outlook from NOAA for the month of November, just to show you how awful they are at seasonal and monthly forecasting. This was their forecast for November. Warm temperatures in the east, warm temperatures for the 4 corner states down through Texas. None of this actually happened with the exception of the little bit of warmth that they showed for the southwestern United States. But the eastern United States has basically been nothing but cold air so far, and also, I guess with the exception of southern Florida. But through the 20th, it looks like we will have below average temperatures for the eastern United States. And with how extreme it's been, I don't see any chance of that final 10 days of November turning around what the month of November has been like. So we're going to go down as a cold eastern United States November. So this was a complete failure by NOAA on their seasonal and monthly forecasting. And that's what I've always been trying to tell you guys. They just do not get these things right anytime. They usually actually show the opposite of what happens. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching this entire video. It's been a very long one. Be sure to share it with your friends and family on Facebook and other social medias as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video.